Alright guys, this is Casey from GeurillaWarsoft today, and I'll be giving you the review on my personal weapon of choice when I am playing with the team and usually Milsim Airsoft. Alright, so this is the Black Ops Teaming with Ignite Tactical M4 Viper Assault Rifle. Right away you can see it's listed as 420 FPS, and that is the biggest lie ever. It says it is that with 12 grain BBs, and even that is probably a stretch. It says in the manual, which I'll get to later, that it is around 330 feet per second with 20 grain BBs, which I use. Alright, so it's a nice looking box. It's nowhere near as nice as like the F2000 by G&G. That's a beautiful box. This is a nice looking box though. Right away when you open it, you're greeted by the manual, which I think is very good for what it is. It's a $100 weapon, and for what it is, I think it is worth every penny. It comes with about 10 pages and actually does describe how to use the weapon very well, unlike some of the other G&G and Airsoft GI different manuals. Alright, so here's the box. I actually used it as a target. You may or not be able to see a bunch of little holes just because free target. Alright, so I'll get to the gun. Here's the gun. Right away, if you were looking closely at the box, you'll notice that the rear sight is not on here at all. It is not because I take it off for the video. It is because I put it on and I scooted it back as far as it would go on the rail system, and I closed the stock quickly and it broke the tip of the rear sight off. And I did not even know it was broken until I had looked down. And this happened on the first day. So that tells you the quality of the rear sight. If I had to say that if the gun was similar quality to the rear sight, I would say it was, but I am still satisfied with the gun. Now, you may be saying, if I'm on a team, Airsoft, and I play Milsim and CQC and CQB all the time, then why are you using a $100 Walmart gun? I would tell you, one, I cannot afford a nicer gun, a G&G Combat Machine, Elite Forces M4, something like that. So, I spent $100 and got this done. Alright? Another reason I got this is because I do love to upgrade my weapons. I don't like to spend $400 and keep that like it is for the rest of my life. I would always prefer to spend $150 and slowly get a new gearbox, new lower receiver, new quad rail system, new stock, stuff like that. And that's what I plan on doing. So far, the only upgrade I have gotten is a CP Tactical Reflex sight, which I'll show you later on in this video. Alright, so right away, I noticed putting the magazine into the mag well, I noticed that the mag well is way too big. I have used magazines from this gun, from older generations of this gun, from the G&G Elite Forces M4, from multiple different combat machine M4 mags, just to see if there was a difference, and there's not. Which means if you're going to have this gun, you have to put duct tape or something like that around the magazine. And I'll show you that. Alright, here's the magazine that it comes with. It is a high cap magazine, and I do not believe it actually tells you how many it holds. My best guess would probably be 300 or 250. The feeding of this magazine, I think, is very good for a $100 gun. It works very well in any other gun, any other high-end M4 that I have used it in. But like I said, anytime you put it in, you have to apply pressure to the back and the bottom of the magazine so that it feeds properly. It will not shoot properly and will almost never shoot if you do not apply the pressure. Alright, so to solve the problem, I put duct tape around it, and it solves the problem halfway. I still keep it on just in case, because I'd hate to get in a quick situation and, not be shooting. Alright, so that's kind of a bad thing about it, so I might as well give you something good about it while I'm at it. The stock, I think the stock is beautiful quality. I think it is the best quality of anything else on the gun. It is a full metal stock, obviously not including any moving parts, but it does come with the cheek standard with the cheek pad, and the cheek pad is very hard to remove, but it is removable. No screws or anything, it just clamps around it. One of the problems I have faced is that with the cheek pad on, you cannot use any sight that you have unless you raise the sight by putting another rail on top of this rail, which is a problem. So anytime I am at a war, I still have the sight on, but it is just for looks. Alright, there's something good. I'll give you another bad thing about this gun. It's the quad rail on the front. Initially it comes with a 8.4 volt battery, and I am extremely displeased with this battery. It is a terrible battery, and it loses its life within 30 minutes. 30 minutes if you're on fully automatic. And it is quite embarrassing to be at a Milsim Airsoft War, and this being your only battery, because I've just got it and it runs out. So I would not suggest playing with that battery unless you're playing an indoor and it only lasts 5 minutes. Alright, so another problem that a lot of users of this gun have faced is that the barrel moves. Mine has not moved yet. It has not loosened up. I don't know if it is mine is better quality, or were meaner to the gun, or they just didn't have it right. But you can fix that problem. You just have to remove the front sight with some Allen keys and tighten the gear that is around here. Not a hard fix, alright? So I'm very pleased with that they have had a solution to the problem. Alright, so another thing, the charging handle. The spring in the charging handle is weak and it is terrible. It is just not a good charging handle, alright? It doesn't actually lock in place, so even without the charging handle safety, you can still pull it back. The lip that it attaches to is just almost non-existent. Another problem, when you pull it back, to either because it is blowback or to change the hop up, sometimes it just doesn't go all the way forward. And some of you may say, well, okay, what's the big deal? I say, well, I like cosmetics, and I do not like that because of that. Another thing is it jams in semi-automatic quite often. You'll pull the trigger and nothing happens. I have found the solution to this is to just flip it into fully automatic, and you could take one single shot and it'll be back to normal. Put it back on semi-automatic, and you can keep going. Alright? Another problem I have faced with this, I don't know if they designed it like this, but I'm going to call it a problem because I don't like it. With it in semi-automatic, you can pull the trigger slowly, and when it is mid-range of being pulled completely, it goes fully automatic. So I don't know, some of you may like that. So if you were to put it in semi-automatic, if you were to pull the trigger slowly, that alone there would probably take around 4 shots. So if you want to take one shot and complete the trigger pull, you have to take a very brisk, very quick pull, pull, pull. Alright? But there are some advantages. I have used it in the bright side and have been glad that it was like that. You can just half pull the trigger and have fully automatic until you either run out of battery or run out of bullets or need to line your magazine again. And that pretty much concludes the cosmetic area. The flash hider, it's just ugly. It does not come off, not that I'm aware of anyways. It is just very ugly. The front sight I will most definitely be removing, either to put a new front sight or to leave it off completely. I do not like this. It makes me think of M16 too much, and I really am not a fan of M16s. Also, the front sling mount is completely plastic, and as you can see here, it is just terrible. It is more flimsy than not. On the back, you see a spot where you possibly could put a one-point sling, but it doesn't. I just recently removed the stock to see if I could spin it and reattach the stock and have a one-point sling, which I am fond of, but I could not because it is a solid piece. It comes off, but there is not actually a hole. I really can't say anything better about it than that. I'm really just not fond of it at all. There's nothing good about it I can say. Another problem I have, not just with the battery, but with the housing, it's too small. It's too small. The battery itself, I think, should always easily fit in between the outer barrel and the inside of the quad rail system, or whatever type of front grip you have. But it doesn't often get stuck, and I'm afraid I'll rip the cord straight out of the battery. So I'll most definitely be getting a smaller nunchuck style 9.6 volt battery to put in here. Another problem I really don't like is that the cord is this darn long. That's crap. The fuse is right here. It takes up so much room, and because of that, I often can't put the bottom piece of the rail on because part of the wire will be stuck out, and that just doesn't make me happy at all. You can remove the lower receiver like I will do later in this video, and show you that that you somehow, I don't know how, you can get it back in there, but there's just so minimal room that every time I've done it, I haven't had enough time for one, and not enough energy to waste to try to get it back in there. Alright, so similar to, on the subject of removing the upper receiver from the lower receiver, similar to an actual AR-15 or an M4, it does have two pins to remove the upper and lower receiver. Only the front pin, though, is functional. The back pin, you can remove it, but it does nothing. So you can see I just removed it with my fingernail, only because it is used to me taking it out. At first, I used a empty CO2 canister from my 1911 that I use, and very easily you can just pop out the pin. Alright, so here's the upper receiver. You cannot take off the, you cannot take them completely apart without any other tools, Allen keys or screwdrivers, because, like I said, this wire is too long, the fuse is on it, and it just doesn't fit through this part right here. As you can see, the whole barrel is plastic. If this is metal, I've never seen this type of metal before, and obviously wouldn't go into a $100 airsoft gun because it feels and has the effect of a regular plastic cheap barrel. The whole hop-up system is plastic as well, which I'm not displeased with the hop-up. It actually does perform well. It's very easy to reassemble. The only problem with reassembling I have ever had is the charging handle occasionally comes out and is sort of difficult to get it back together. Besides that, that's really all you would ever need to do unless you were making internal repairs or replacing the gearbox. I know a lot of you may be thinking, can I replace the spring to up the FPS or anything? I would say yes, you can, but I personally have not had enough time to see if I could get the spring out. That shows that it must be difficult. Honestly, I'm not going to replace the spring. I'm not the type of person to change the springs at every airsoft war just so it suits me better at that airsoft war. I just buy a new gun. Now, I'm not saying, hey, I'm the laziest guy ever. I'm just saying I don't like the convenience that comes with that. Personally, this is completely fine with me. Like I said at the beginning, I'd much rather prefer to have just mod the gun completely. You know, you may be laughing at me now because you've seen this side of the gun. You can see the wires coming out, and that's this. So that shows you how bad of a problem that is. I was completely unknowing why I couldn't get the pin the rest of the way back in. Told you, see? I'll skip ahead. I'll completely skip this part of the video. I'll come back to you in a minute with it completely put back together. Alright guys, so I got it back together, and took me about 10 minutes, which really displeases me, like I was talking about. I also realized I contradicted myself earlier when I said that it was easy to put back together, because it's not. So yeah, I'll bring to you the shooting test right here after this, and that'll be the conclusion of this video. Alright, so here's the shooting test with the supposed 330 feet per second with 20 grain BBs. Shooting at probably around 45 feet. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I would say it's pretty accurate. I can hit a head-sized target at 50 feet all day long. Alright, so here I'll show you, it's in semi-automatic, and I'll show you how I can halfway pull the trigger and it'll shoot in fully automatic. Just like that. It is the same rate of fire as automatic. There is no difference at all. Here I'll show you that if you pull the trigger slowly, you'll just get like a burst shot. Although you cannot control how many BBs come each time. You simply have to control the speed and hope for the best. Alright guys, thanks for watching again. We're GeurillaWarsoft, and any questions you have, we'd be glad to answer. Anything about our loadout or questions on future videos. So please subscribe, and thank you for your time.